You ready? Who waiting in there?
That's where they paid in taxes back then.
Okay. Maybe we'll talk about people
You ready?
Oh, I got you.
You don't think ought to bring it up?
Ready to roll. 10 o'clock.
Where's Emily? Where's Emily?
Should be here in a minute.
Y'all ready?
Yeah, he's ready. Camera's rolling.
You ready, man? Y'all ready? All right, everybody, good morning. We'll call this meeting to order. It's Friday, April the 16th, 2021. All right, Mr. Lee Falk, will you lead us in the pledge, please, sir? And Thomas, would you lead us in the prayer?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Okay. Do we have anybody else that wants to fill out a card and speak? If y'all do, sign, fill out a card, and we'll let y'all come and speak. Thank you. Okay. Number 3, Katie Barnes. Is Katie in this morning? There she is.
You want me up here?
Yes, if you don't mind, but you can come up. Thank you.
Morning, y'all.
Morning, Katie.
Yeah, I just wanted to give an update and let y'all know that the National Audubon Society is continuing our work here in Cameron. And this year we have 2 technicians, so they're seasonal biologists. They'll be monitoring the birds and putting up fencing to protect the dunes and the eggs and chicks. And their names are Adrian and Shannon, so you'll see them around on the beaches. So our work is going to continue as normal, and we will fence the areas as we see birds starting to initiate and when we find nesting colonies to protect the dune areas as well as the birds, of course, that are using the dune areas. And also, I wanted to mention that LDWF enforcement has expressed interest, as well as community members, about replacements of the dune signage as well as the beach rules. As we're moving into a busier time of the year when we've got a lot of campers and recreational activities on the beach, I think it's important to have those speed limits up and all of those rules up there for the communities, for the safety of the community and for the folks that are coming down to the beach. There's also been a lot of people getting stuck out there. It's a very different landscape, as we all know. And so I think it's important to make sure that we work on getting those signs placed, and I know that enforcement, LDWF enforcement will be supporting us this year more with making sure that the birds are protected. So I just wanted to give a little update, and we're here, and we're a resource to y'all, so let us know what you need, and we'll start putting up fencing when we start seeing the eggs. So thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Appreciate it. Okay, number 4, Mr. Butch Gidry, Pelican Point Road.
I'd like to bring it up again for us to try to do something with that road, because it's going underwater worse than it did before. Road is starting to break up on the top. We need to try to do something to lift it up and repair it.
Does Emily have some kind of cost figure or something? You have something to put up? Is that what you have here?
Yes, sir. That's gonna be an old figure, that was from last year. Just that way y'all can at least kind of get an idea.
Is this just blacktopping it right here, or just raising it
It's
up?
raising it also.
How much is it raising it?
It's raising it, right at a foot.
Well, my personal opinion on any blacktopping right now, I think we're in the recovery process. I think we need to me, focus on getting our debris picked up, getting our ditches and our coverage clean. Then we'll maybe put together a task force or something and prioritize blacktopping roads. I mean, not just picking one here and there, and see which roads are the worst roads we need to blacktop first. I mean, I know there's a lot of roads, I know I got 4 or 5 in my district that goes underwater every time we get a little rain, that needs to be lifted, you know.
Yeah, but this is salt water too.
Yeah,
so-
this is salt
Yeah,
water.
I understand
It's
that.
salt water and it's just a little old piece that would do a whole lot of
You're
good.
talking about maybe a 600-foot stretch at the most.
It's not like a project, it's not like a road project, like we blacktopping a road or something. It's just.
I know, I went and rode out there yesterday, I understand, I think, I just think, like I said, I think we got a lot of recovery we need to be doing right now and getting that straight, and then see where our money's at and what we need to do from there. I mean, that's just me, but
But some of our recovery is to repair roads.
Yeah, it is.
We got some bad roads all over. And, one of my deal is, you know, we can prioritize these roads, you know, get a list of them, let's prioritize them. But one of the main things of the prioritizing of the roads is the ones that's going underwater with salt water. You know, these people are buying $70,000, $80,000 vehicles and running through salt water. I mean, we don't wanna have that in the parish. Fresh water's a little different. I know, we can't afford to do every road at one time, but let's prioritize these things and, let's get these ones that's going underwater fixed, you know, with salt water right quick if we can. I agree.
I got to say that, I'm looking at this figure that you got right here, and actually all they're doing is putting a base, asphalt base, and not reinforcing it in any way. The problem with it is right now, and I'm sorry I haven't went out and looked at it, but in my opinion, if you just put another asphalt base, it's gonna keep sinking. If you don't put some kind of structure there that's gonna keep that, a solid base there, you're not doing anything.
Well, I'm real familiar with it, and the road was built across an old bayou. So, I mean, the road is just, it's just settling in that old
That's
bayou.
what I'm saying.
But there's no real good way to secure up that bottom. I mean, it would take a
Bunch of money.
to
You have to
get
redig
down
it.
and,
You have to dig it all out, repack
Yeah.
it, clean
But
it
where,
all.
where the old bayou's at, Lee, we can't, just reinforce that one spot where the old drainage ditch was at, ain't that the worst spot?
yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
it's not a very big area.
That's where the
It's-
drainage part is. It's
Right,
not
where,
very big.
where we wanting to build it up. That's the cheapest route to go, is to build it up and resurface it, that area right there.
I know we did, Klondike years ago, and, the same scenario was always staying underwater. Trucks was bogging in the middle of the road. I mean, until we lifted
Yeah.
it and got it out of the water and asphalted it, now we have more problem with that.
Exactly.
That was, it's made it-
We got riprap on it, so we got it, I think
Secured.
there's.
Yeah, there's riprap.
Riprap on it, put it
And-
on it.
and in this
It just said
process-
it's sunk.
Oh, okay.
In this price, they were gonna put a crushed asphalt, shoulder on it to help the water from coming up on it also.
I don't have nothing against it, but if you keep piling things on top of it, without something reinforcing the bottom of it, you're not doing any good whatsoever. If you got flowing water, that flowing water is gonna cause.
No, there's no flowing water.
No,
No flowing water. It was
It
just
just comes
built
over it.
across, the water drains another way. It's
It's
just,
not
it was
built
built
bayou up.
across an old bayou.
Well, I still think it needs reinforcement. I don't think you just go pile, I know that, I'm not against it,
Yeah.
but. my
We can
thing
look
is-
at that. We
My
can
thing
do
is,
it.
it needs some kind of reinforcement before you go piling a whole bunch of.
How many feet?
$120,000.
how many feet are we talking
about
about?
600 feet.
600 feet?
It's not very long, 600 is the most probably.
Has anybody done a soil compaction test on it yet?
No, sir.
I think before we go anywhere, we need a compaction test on it.
That you're gonna,
Then that'd tell us what we need to do. I mean, that would help.
Well, anyway, we can, maybe we can vote to at least get that started on it, you know, get something checked out on it, you know? But we gotta fix it, I mean, we can't let people
Yeah.
keep going through salt water.
Because if we don't have a foundation under that, like Kurt said, it's gonna be, I'd rather pull it up and soil cement it, put a base on it, and then,
Yeah, we can do a compassion, because Kurt, you're in dirt business too, but, you know, when you put something at first, it's gonna sink.
Right.
It's gonna go so far, then
Right.
you can come on up with it, kinda like Klondike Road, it's
Yeah.
sat there for years, but once we redid it.
so,
it was
right, and
good
if
with
we
it.
did the test, that'd tell us where we stand.
We don't wanna go with, don't wanna go ahead and,
So y'all wanna move it forward to do a
Move
soil
forward with it.
compaction
Yeah.
test
Yeah, check
and
it
get a
out.
new quote, or just the soil compaction test?
No, we need a price on it.
So both?
Mhm.
Okay.
while we're talking about roads and raising roads, can we get with the state and, see about raising this front road out here in Cameron? Every time that water comes up, we have salt water all over the roads out here, maybe we can raise that road about 1.5 feet.
Yes, sir, we can certainly.
Maybe we can
with
do
the
that, maybe.
We've done a few studies on the culverts that are in the place where the water comes in to see if we could do some drainage improvements to help facilitate, keep the water from coming over. We're also gonna be interested in looking at maybe doing some type of berm just in that little area to build up the property to keep it, because it only floods in that one little section. So we are working on it, on some solutions.
Talked to Rusty, and there's 4 culverts, I didn't know, it went from goes from the main road to the river, and there's no flat gates, they're gone, and so what happens when the tide comes up, even if we burn this off that we're talking about, the water comes through the pipes and comes through the road, so we gotta address those 4 issues there. Right.
Also, the Kelso Bridge in Highbury, last 2 days, water's been over that. We've been talking to the state for how many years now? This is about 12 years, and they still
Yep.
not.
We submit requests for capital outlay funding to elevate that area, to elevate Highway 82, to address Marsh Street, and, you know, we're gonna submit again to see if we can get any traction. We can certainly reach out to, you know, Sean Wilson and see if we can get him down here to come take a look at everything in person, so he could see exactly what the issue is and how much it's actually causing problems for the residents. I mean, we can request a meeting. The governor comes here a lot. He actually drove through Cameron the other day when he came in for a meeting, and he said that he was shocked at what was going on in Cameron, that, you know, from the pictures that he's seen, it just doesn't do justice to the amount of devastation that's here. So we certainly can put in a request for that, see if we can get them to come in and tour all these areas and see if we can get some capital outlay funds invested.
Well, the road in Highbury, it's a state road, and
Absolutely.
for 12 years, we've been asking them to do something about it. They haven't done a thing, not a thing. The only thing they did was, after the storm, they went and laid a little bit more blacktop down and filled the holes up. 12 years we've been asking them to fix that road.
And that's why we submit all these funding requests. So if the parish can obtain some state funding, then they would have to address it. And we'll certainly try harder.
Well,
I know you're
this
doing
is
your
a,
job. I'm sorry, I'm not aiming that at you. I'm aiming it straight at.
But the good news is they are moving forward with the ferry, and they're looking at construction in early 2022, so.
Yeah, but you know, just, I think this is worth mentioning. They want to go, the federal government comes in here and wants us to spend all this money on marsh protection, you know, and we spending money building levees to protect private landowners and everything. Why can't we take some of that funding and build and put it and do a project on a state road? Instead of doing some foolishness, I feel sometimes it's foolishness out in the marshes where we protecting people's private property and trying to divert water from one part of the parish to the other part of the parish. Why can't we take that money and put it toward a project like that?
Well, the marsh restoration comes from QIPRA program, so
Well, it's a marsh. It's a marsh that the road passes through.
right, but that's not gonna get funded through that program. It's not an eligible project. Yeah.
Gotta be an eligible project.
but now's the
There
perfect
is
time
others,
for us to
though.
get on this, because we can, you know, get some help.
There is other funding.
Yeah, and we have submitted through Congressman Higgins' office a few projects for some, they're opening up what they refer to as earmark funding that is allocated through Congress. And so we have submitted a few of these infrastructure type projects and coastal protection projects, mainly our breakwater, to see if maybe we could get some infrastructure funds allocated through the earmark process. So those requests are in right now. We also have some requests in with Representative Boyock. He's on a few committees. They're looking at doing some disaster recovery bills this session. So we have the same project submitted through his office. And we just have to wait for session and for the allocation from Congress or from the legislator.
Okay. Katie, while we on roads, if y'all don't mind, I guess we might as well let this is about the parish take over of road maintenance. Might be a good time to go ahead and bring it up, Mr. Harry Pfaffman.
That's-
If you don't mind, we might as well let him come, we were talking about roads, let him come and speak. Yes, sir, over here.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you guys?
Good, and you?
What we're here for is for you guys to take over a road, it's 101 Cooper Ann Lane in Hackberry, for the maintenance of it. The reason we want you to take over this road is so we can get permanent addresses, because the Postal Service does not recognize that road, and neither does Amazon and some of the other delivery services, and we have problems getting our materials and stuff to our place because they don't recognize that. Now we have 3 permanent residents there, myself and Kevin and Wayne on the end, and there are probably more in the future. And basically, that's what we're after.
How many homes or homes or camps are on that road?
Currently 8,
8.
and there's potential for 18.
Yeah.
We do have some pictures of the road and the overview of it, the Google Maps, to help you guys look at this.
Was the road built to the parish's minimum standards? Do you know?
I do not know.
That's one of the main things, is built to our standards.
It's not a paved road, it's a gravel, dirt road, or gravel road. It's a pretty nice road. Who built that road? Do you
I'm
know?
not exactly sure. That was originally developed by Sam Bro, but
Yeah, Sam Bro is the one that.
How long is the road?
Oh, it's.
1,070 feet.
1,070 feet.
Give or take.
We haven't accepted a shell road.
Y'all hauled
We
quite a
quit
bit of
accepting shell roads.
material in it on the road as well, trying to keep it.
We've maintained it 3 or 4 times. We'll get a load of gravel to keep it maintained. But all the construction's been going on, it's just deteriorated. But we're going to be putting it back like it was.
I know that this is not my district, but mainly we run into the same problem before. And basically, there's an ordinance in the parish that it has to be brought up to minimum standards of the parish before we take it over. And that's meaning soil, cemented, asphalted, and then the parish takes it over. Same thing as Calcasieu or anywhere else. And I have one in Klondike, same thing. The guy wanted us to take it over, old subdivision, couldn't do nothing with it because they didn't want to asphalt. They wanted us to asphalt it, but it has to be brought up to minimum standards before we can take it over.
So
And if
it won't be taken over as a gravel road.
No.
No, so I got to be asphalted. Yeah, yeah, y'all not the only ones. There's other people the same.
And if you're thinking about going that direction, you can get with our road superintendent, and she can give you the specs.
That's what I was going to ask for.
And that way, it'll give you a guideline
That'd be
of what
great.
you're gonna need to get it up to the specs.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, if you get that, then we take it over after that. It's our road.
And what do you need, what do you need for the Postal Service to acknowledge that
They won't acknowledge a private road.
Right now, we've
Until
got
we take it
mailboxes.
over.
We have to, the mailboxes have to be placed
Until
over
the
around the
parish
corner of
actually
Pizza.
takes it over. We don't have permanent addresses. Now, you can put your post box a quarter of a mile away on another road, but it's not only that, Amazon won't recognize that road.
I know, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, so it's very inconvenient. And we were down here trying to find out what we needed to do to move this thing forward. Good.
Yeah, if it meets that standard, we can take it on.
Okay. Well, let's see what we can do. Who do we talk to about the? Oh,
Give me-
yeah.
Thank y'all.
Just yeah. You want your pictures back? You want your photos back?
Sure.
Okay, number 5, administrative update, debris removal and road and bridge. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and get started with that, and then we'll get to Emily. So one major announcement, I think Cameron Pilot broke the story yesterday. Good job, Ms. Cindy. But the DMV is now officially open for business every Thursday, 8 to 4. We relocated the office to the suite over here. We felt like it was probably better to serve the public if they came over here where the registered voter was and where the permitting department was. as a one-stop shop, so we relocate them from the east annex over to the west annex in this little suite next to the health unit. So anyone that needs service, it is every Thursday now, 8 to 12. They close from 12 to 1, and then they open 1 to 4. The second thing is we need to talk about debris removal. They are down to 7,000 cubic yards parish-wide. I think it's now the appropriate time for us to maybe set that final passage date. We have our dump sites all ready to open. Creo dump site's gonna be ready to open tomorrow as well, and we feel like we could open that to debris now and just direct all of the residents to haul debris directly to our dump sites. If you already have it at the road, it will get collected. But if you are doing any new demos over the weekend, to please haul it to our parish-wide dump site. So I'm here to ask you for a date to be set. I would recommend April 30th, but if you want to go shorter or longer,
Sounds good.
That sounds good.
April 30th.
Yeah, that's good. Now, we told everybody, I think in May, we kind of, so we either gonna have to get some word out to let everybody know, and make sure everybody understands it's not May no more, because I told several people, May myself, we was going to May, but if we're gonna stop at April the 30th, I'm good with that, but we need to get the word out, let everybody know.
If the sooner that we can get everyone utilizing our parish-wide dump sites, the sooner we can get our road crew in digging and maintaining our ditches and collecting all the small debris. So
Yes.
anyone out there that has just typical yard debris, please bring it to our dump sites. Now, if you have large storm debris that you just now get insurance money on and you had planned this weekend to get it to the road, well, then we're still gonna collect something like that, those large type items. We will do our best to collect it, but we absolutely cannot collect past May 28th. Everything will be ineligible. If we set April 30th, like I said, if we're running slow, if we don't have everything collected by April 30th and we have to keep our trucks in the area to collect things through May, then we can, but we're gonna try to have series dispatched and demobilized April 30th, the last day.
And that,
And
open our dump sites this weekend for
Dump
debris.
sites will be open. Johnson Bayou, Hackberry, Big Lake, Sweet Lake, and now Creo will all be open normal summer hours except in debris.
What about Klondike?
Oh, Klondike and Lowry as well, but they'll be able to take debris. But
And-
the only dump sites that really aren't gonna be open right now, they have a few more maintenance to do and repairs is Holly Beach, Cameron, and Grand Chenier.
Now, is Waste Management gonna be able to handle the dumpsters, or we need to get somebody secondary to back them up? Because, we're gonna have a bunch of debris going to that dump, especially up in our area. And I know people been calling and asking when we're gonna open the dumps, and so, and I know the time before Waste Management could keep up a couple times. Do we have somebody back up to help? Because I don't wanna see the dump closed
Yeah.
Sunday because we can't get
Because
Waste
it's
Management to
full.
come,
Okay, no, that's a good point. We'll make sure that we have someone on standby. We do have some roll-offs that are gonna be at these dump sites to help, but we'll make sure that we do have that
Yeah,
on Sunday.
somebody to back them up. They
It'll be a
can't-
busy weekend for everyone cleaning.
Yeah, they can't handle it, let's have somebody to get in there to dump off some containers and get our stuff out.
So with that being said, if April 30th is our day, then that means Siri's is ready to come in and fix the roads and do their final dress up. So they'll be in the area working down each road. They're gonna be fixing any of the shoulder damage that was there, dressing everything up. We'll have our road crew guys going in and digging the ditches. If there's anybody out there that, feels like they were missed or they have a serious problem with their road damage, send us their address, send us a picture, we'll make sure that we get the crew in there to get it fixed. We'll try to have everything fixed by the end of May. But like I said, Siri's, all of their contractors have to be gone by May 28th.
But we can't have people keep going dumping.
Dumping, yeah.
Fix it.
And that's
Or are
why
we
we're
going-
telling people, go to the dump, because if we are in your area and we fix your road and our road crew fixes your ditch and then you put something in there, then it's gonna be your responsibility to remove it.
Are we taking pictures of this or
Yeah,
something
there
because I know, take a picture of, okay, your road was clean 2 weeks, somebody be calling, he didn't come pick up my stuff. Well, here's a picture, we
Right.
cleaned it, now you done threw some more stuff
The
out
road
here.
crew could do that.
Yeah, somebody just go by with the camera to take pictures, as they clean each road and go along.
I agree.
Joe says they are of putting more stuff on the roads. I mean, from the Catholic Church in Hackberry, people think it's still a dump site.
Oh, no.
They're putting, water heaters and everything else out there, and, the thing about it is, we need to make sure that everybody understands that whenever we shut it down, it's shut down. I know everybody said, I know everybody got Facebook, and everybody said, well, when are they gonna stop doing that? When are they gonna stop doing that? And you post it all the time, but a lot of them don't see it. So, I know they watch Channel 7 News, if you get on the news even, some
Okay.
people let them know that, hey, it's it.
So they want to take the pictures, then we got some, I claim you put it there, you need to take it out.
Yeah, it's your business now.
I think that if we open them dump sites up, that's gonna give.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna help.
There's a lot of people rather bring it to the dump
Yep.
and put it in their front yard.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm hearing.
A lot have been asking about the dumps, getting them open.
Oh, yeah.
So they are all gonna be
I've
open
got
to
one question
debris.
too. You show on here, what's this date where you showed the cubic yards of debris? 4/15/2021, is that just
Estimates.
for the month, or is that from,
They estimated that on April 15th, there was only 7,000 cubic yards.
that day?
Mhm.
Okay. And what they normally carry in a day?
Well, they used to average, high times were 13,000 cubic yards daily. They started averaging around 6,000, but once they got down to 6,000, they just missed a lot of their trucks. And so now their average was 2,000 to 3,000. They shut down on a weekend for maintenance. So right now, they're saying 7,000, which in a perfect world, it would take them a week to do it because it's parish-wide.
Right.
So with weather, we'll see, but we definitely think that they can have everything. And then if you say possibly over the weekend, someone else puts out 2,000 or 3,000 cubic yards because they didn't know, or they're trying to get it in, we still feel like we can have everything collected by the 30th.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's really important that our personnel, whoever it may be, identify those damages roads and give that to the contractor to where they got a checklist. So to say, you got damage to a shoulder of the road, but there's still debris on it, well, they're not gonna come in and fix the shoulders, but you need that, have a list so they can go back and
A
fix
punch
that.
list,
Yeah.
yes, and that's
Kinda like
how
a punch- a
Series
punch
does it.
list,
Yeah,
yeah.
they have, now that we're telling them April 30th is it, they're gonna have a punch list that they're gonna give to their subcontractors, and they're gonna work off that punch list, which is why I encourage anyone else, any residents, if you know that you have damage that needs to be fixed, go ahead and send it to us so we can reconcile it to the punch list. And we'll also have our road crew, our foremans reconciling it as well.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's covered, because once they leave, they're not gonna really come back.
Now, I know I've called you several times about the state road, you can get the address. What's the deal on the state roads,
So
debris?
State Road is, they keep saying they're done their final pass, that they're not coming back. They're wanting to talk to the parish about how we're gonna handle any debris on a state road that hasn't been collected yet. But we could either get with them and sign an MOU to collect what's at the road, or we can still hold out and just tell DOT, look, it's your right of way, you need to have it removed, or if you don't want to remove it, then you need to send the encroachment letters to the landowner and let them know that it needs to be moved. That's like one of two options that are on the table right now, but
Are you sure we get paid for it though if we did it?
we would have, that's what I'm working on, if we can get an MOU. Right now we have an MOU for commercial debris. We're able to pick up commercial debris on state roads. So we've been working through that. If there's a parish road that's close to the state road and our contractors are comfortable picking it up because of its proximity to the parish road, then we're able to collect that under our parish road contract. But anything outstanding that's absolutely on a state road that we can't touch, we're either gonna have to just leave it there and let DOTD deal with it, or we'll have to try to see if we can get funding to collect it. And we're working through the MOU, and if FEMA would even allow us to do it right now. That's what we've been working on.
How about the stumps?
So stumps, I can let Emily update y'all, they did, and you don't have the list. So we identified stumps in every area that were potential, not just stumps, lantern hangers and everything. The foreman did the assessments in their districts. It was turned into our debris monitoring firm, which is Roston. And with Roston, along with Casey from OEP, we've been working on a private property debris removal program where Roston's going to manage the database. It's going to be something that's going to go live. So we already have the stumps and pictures identified that we want to go and pursue. We're going to go do the lat and longitude of it, submit it through FEMA, see if it's an eligible expense or not an eligible expense. We'll have this online database where residents can go in and fill out an application for private property debris removal, state what type of debris they have, and submit pictures even to us. We'll turn it over to Roston, and Roston works with FEMA about getting it deemed eligible or ineligible. So that site is testing right now. We think we're going to be ready to go live by next week, next Wednesday. But we'll announce it'll be on our website. It's not ready yet because we're in the final testing stages. Our target date was next Wednesday. Of course, we won't announce that it's ready until we do the final testing, but it will be on our website. You go to CameronParisPJ.org and you fill out PPDR, and it will get you to our online database application system.
There's a lot of people that don't operate in that
Yes,
direction.
well, we've thought about that, and some of the ideas on how to mitigate that is to get some help from our library staff. They have computers, they have internet access. If we can work with Dee Dee and see if her girls would be willing to, if someone goes to any of our libraries, they could help with the application process. They could also come here. We have staff members here that can sit down with them and fill out the application for them. As long as the person's present. They also could send in their ID and the address, and we can do it through email and everything, the application. So we're going to try and make sure that we have everyone that's not, doesn't have access to the computers or internet, that they can come to a library or come to our office and we can help them.
I got one more question. And I talked to you this about a while back about the AT&T or whoever's cable they got laying in the ditches from Boone's Corner all the way. Are they going to come remove that, or what's going to happen with this?
Now, they say that what they're doing is they're going through identifying their damages and everything they're doing for their assets. And then once they have it all plotted out, then they're supposed to come in and pick it up. But the problem is that when you talk to them, they can't tell you when they're going to conclude their assessments.
So my
it's
telling people,
unknown.
I'm just going to tell them, look, your property line, at the other end, just cut it and roll it up and throw it away. Then they can assess it at the dump. Because we're going on 8 months now.
I know.
People can't cut their grass. I mean, it's in the ditch. There's no
They're
sense
saying
in
that
this.
they're still under assessment. That's the only answer I can get out of it. They're still doing their damage assessments.
We can just cut it and let the property owner get rid of it, and they can assess it at the dump. I think that's to me, is a fair answer to them after 8 months been asking to pick up their stuff.
One wire in my lawnmower blades, I eliminated.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's
Get underneath there to
terrible they
do all
can't
that.
come pick it up. I mean, geez,
Right.
it's not that, I mean, Jeff Davis and Energy picked up all their wires and rolled them up and got them out the ditches and everything.
We're driving up this evening, they'll pick it up, and you can see it, so.
It's gonna be hard for us to clean ditches with wire.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, tell a property owner, hey, just cut it in each end of your property and roll a little piece up and let the next neighbor do it and go on down and
If the
let
wire ain't
AT&T
there, it's
assess it.
very easy to assess.
I have something.
The rest of Road and Bridge, or we done with Road and Bridge?
No, I have something.
Well, I think I need to wrap up the debris removal, so
totally.
sounds like we're gonna go ahead with the April 30th, we'll advertise it. The PPDR program that I was just explaining to you, that's just kind of like an intake application. You don't have to make a decision whether or not you want to pursue it. You're not allocating funds to it yet. We're just trying to continue to get all the information together and figure out what that budget looks like. We'll come back to you with the budget for approval once we have that. And it's not just, but in the past, a lot of people think it's just demoing houses, but this can be more. This is going to be stump removal. It's going to be debris removal that wasn't within the 15 feet of the right-of-way. And then it could also be house demolition and haul off. So it could be anything that would be considered an improvement of the property, like for cleaning purposes.
Good.
Of course, you had something you said?
Yes, sir. Coming across the ferry, this is not in my area, but I'm gonna speak up for Sonny. At the ferry landing, they're starting to use it as a parking lot now. And, it's to the point where they're practically blocking the entrance when they go in there. And I guess this is for you, Miss Emily. In fact, this morning alone, they had one area that they could get in there, and there's a big mud, I'm talking about a deep hole, and then a little car is parked right against the pavement, or against the rocks, and barely any room to get in there. They're moving closer to the ramps now, and the boats, people backing their boats in and stuff like that, shouldn't have to worry about running in the back end of these cars. I think we need to either rope something off or designate the area that they can park. This is about the third time I've seen this. It's sticking out there pretty full. So I'd like somebody.
Who's using it as a parking lot?
I guess
It's, some Kiewit workers, some of the workers,
The workers are.
and there is some engineer, some surveyors launch out of there.
But they had,
Sounds like it's full.
they probably had 60, 70 cars there this morning.
Every day.
That's every
That's
day.
every day, and in fact, they're moving closer to the water every time, and the people trying to launch a boat, gonna have a difficult time. Somebody's gonna wind up getting hit, it's gonna be on the parking lot, they're gonna be calling us and it's our call.
Well, they're allowed to put the boat in a little ferry.
It's up to the ferry captain if they can use it or not.
They were doing it because there was so much traffic getting on the ferry, and so the workers, they started parking over there and
Except they'll be
going
busting
across,
them up.
and then somebody would pick them up on the other side and bust and
Yeah,
bring them in.
they're busting them, they're boating them, and then they're busting them. I don't have no problem with them parking there. I mean, but
Right.
when they're getting as close as they are, and they're not in line, they're all zigzagging through there. And this one little car this morning, you can ask Winnie, that one little car this morning, they had one little space that whoever had to go in there, had to get in there. So I just think they need to look at it and maybe put a line up or something, make sure that they don't.
Maybe if it's Kiewit's people, they need to,
I can reach out.
reach out to them to help us
I
identify.
understand they want to park there, that's not a problem, but there's a way of parking and there's a way of not parking.
He just walked out the door. Ryan's here.
Ron, yeah, I seen him. Y'all, what you ready to move on to B, or you wanna go to 6?
Before you go there, since we're talking kind of, before I turn it over to Emily, on the agenda for requesting allocation, there's been a drainage issue for years that we've been working on. I think Ryan actually started working on it when he was working here. That's how old this issue is, but it's on Highway 384 in Grand Lake, over there kind of where Suzanne Sturley's and them live. It always backs up. So we've been working with DOT for a few years now, and we finally got them to agree to let the parish fix the issue. They designed a way to fix the issue. And so the estimated for culvert replacements is $11,000. If we can get an MOU with the OTD to use our force account labor and equipment and then purchase this culvert, we think we can get it fixed for $15,000. So that's on the voting agenda for you guys to vote on today. Like I said, that's something that we worked on. Emily, Ryan was here, and I inherited it, and it's finally come to a point where we can either try to fix it, or if you don't think that we can allocate the funds, then
It's
we'll
good
go
enough for
for
me. They've been
another.
flooding out over there.
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
agree with you.
And they wasn't doing, the state would not do nothing until Ryan finally copied me on the email.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they decided we're gonna do it.
Yeah, because they've been flooding out there for a while.
Yeah, it was
Get in
only
and out.
becoming a state rep, and finally, before they would even have the conversation, like I said, I think, Mr. Kirk, this has been something that you've been working.
Been a long time.
It's been maybe 4 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we finally have a plan forward to vote on, so that is on the agenda today as well.
I just kind of wanted to give y'all a little update on where we're at with different things. We got majority of all the name signs are up. We still have a couple orders that are still standing. They're still making the signs as fast as they get them made. They've been shipping them to us. We got all our stop signs up. In Grand Lake, we picked up all the concrete that was on these parish roads, and we hauled it to Trosclair Road for the cuts, trying to save that road in case we ever get another storm, where we don't. With that being said, our pothole patcher, the tank has actually hit 125 degrees. It's got to get to 150. We're going to probably have to replace the tack that's in it. The patcher trailer itself, it's actually working. There's a couple more adjustments. We're having a little bit of problem with the engine and stuff, but it's working, it's functioning. With that being said, once we kind of get that taken care of, we're gonna patch that Trosclair Road. Let's see. Big Lake crew started cleaning a little bit on the island. I had to pull them off. We're going to be tearing down the Grand Lake barn, so they've been having to take everything that's in the barn and moving it out. And we moved all the cattle pen that was underneath the awning. We stuck them out the dog pens. We're gonna utilize some of them to make a fence once they tear down the barn. That way we can try to keep everything contained in the back. We have 2 guys that are cleaning the drainage laterals right now. We have one of the guys are in the Cameron area. One of the guys is in Grand Lake on one of our 50-foot machines. Let's see. Cameron Creo going to start cleaning ditches next week. That's been arranged. Hackberry has actually made a round of cutting grass on the hips. They've already started picking up some of the trash in their ditches. It's a little bit different in Hackberry than the Grand Lake area. I don't know if anybody's been in Hackberry besides Mr. Curtis and them, but you can see the difference where it's just so much more debris in the ditches here than what's in Hackberry, so it's capable of being picked up. Grand Chenier crew, they've been concentrating on the Little Chenier Road. There was no more shoulders left on that road, so they've been putting all the shoulders back. The bridge is doing really, really good with the state. The one they were replacing by Mr. Benwell's house, it looks like they were shooting for hopefully maybe by the end of June, beginning of August. But now with all the rain, it may have gotten pushed back a little bit further. Holly Beach and Johnson Bayou, they actually started cleaning the Holly Beach area. And we've actually received 3 quotes on cleaning ditches to hire a contractor to come in and help us because there's so much area that needs to be cleaned.
Clean the covers?
No, I'm talking about ditches.
Ditches.
Yes, sir. And they actually going to, they're going to start their dotties on Monday. I think we're going to have a meeting at the barn Monday to kind of tell them where we're going to start and stuff. And we're hoping with everybody in the Grand Lake area, we'll have a crew in Big Lake, we'll have a crew in the middle, which they're going to start like around Parish Line Road. And we'll have Sweet Lake crew start from the other side and hopefully meet in the middle and then jump to every other area.
Okay, but that's a contract.
The contractor.
Okay, I got, we're still hauling stuff to the ditches. I mean, if we're gonna do this, and we do it this week, and next week they throw some more stuff in the ditch, we're back at phase 1 again. Do we need to wait until our cutoff date, then do the ditches? You know, I don't wanna do it twice.
Well, I don't wanna do it twice either, but I think they can identify spots.
Okay, if they do that.
Spots where they've
take
done
pictures,
with the
whatever, yeah.
debris
Yeah,
and,
good.
yeah.
And I think it'll help too now because we did have that incident. We went and cleaned and someone did put some debris back on one of the roads.
Okay.
But I think now that they're able to go to the dump, I'm hoping they're
I'd
gonna
help.
take off and go to the dump instead of coming to the road ditch.
And what about, I know we're gonna have to blow these covers out. Do we need to get a contract crew to come in and do that? Because we got a lot of covers to be,
Yeah, well, we have
you know,
2
to help
machines.
get that going.
Yeah, so we have 2 machines and that may be something that we may need to look at too because there is a lot of driveways,
Yeah.
not counting all the cross culverts.
Yeah, and maybe even get the
So-
contract hand to run the machine, because our guys are, you know, thin and stretched out to get that going when we get moving with it, you
And our
know.
new hires are gonna be coming on board, hopefully beginning of May, first week of May. Then 2 people for the Creole Cameron area should be here, and the one for Johnson Bayou is actually gonna be here next week. So, if y'all have any questions?
I do on the digging of the contractors.
Yes, sir.
They do understand we don't want to dig below the covers.
Yes, sir. Actually, it's, one of the operators that's gonna be with them, I'm hoping that he'll be there the whole time with them, and we're gonna check on them a lot. He's a retiree from the parish. So he knows all the ditches. It's one of his jobs that he did, so, yes, sir.
Okay. All right, good deal.
I'm good, thank you.
I'm good.
Yeah, and the foreman's gonna oversee to make sure that the contractor don't get out of hand and.
Yes, sir. And I'm gonna be out there a little bit more too. They're gonna start seeing me more.
That'd be good.
All right, 6, Grand Lake Farm Center and Fire Station.
Okay, I'm gonna let Wendy, handle this one.
Morning.
Morning.
In y'all's pack, you have a picture, possibly?
Hey, Wendy, Why don't you come sit right here, so for Facebook here? Oh, okay, now, go ahead, he has a microphone.
There's a few pictures you guys had in your packets, kind of look like this. So, I wanted to get your guys' blessings on moving forward with this project. The buildings there are close to 40 years old and really need to be updated. We've gotten some quotes, on redoing the fire station as well as that multipurpose building or the fire, everybody in Grand Lake calls it the Fireman's Center. Close to 400,000 and then some to repair the damages that are there. We have a project, we can rebuild them new, and I want to get y'all's approval to do that, to move forward with that.
What's the cost?
The cost of fix what's there versus new.
The cost to fix what's there, both buildings together, is about 450,000, and the new is 800,000 for the new fire station, and the new community center will be about $1 million.
Where do those funds come from?
Sir,
Where do the funds come from?
insurance and FEMA.
There would be, yeah, so what we're looking at, so if we, and it's up to you guys, we don't have to vote on it actually today, we just need to know kind of where you're leaning, but the fire station, the cost to repair versus new, and then the cost of the multipurpose building versus new, is that amount that she said. But not only would we want to do something new with PW money, FEMA money, and then a jury allocation, we've identified other revenue sources to help cover that. So part of that building, this multipurpose building, could house our voting machines. Right now, State of Louisiana is paying paying a storage facility in Westlake to store our voting machines. So if we build a section in this multipurpose building to store our own machines, then they would pay us rent. So that would be some revenue to help offset the cost of it. We also identified a need for our temporary EOC. After Hurricanes Laura and Delta, our EOC office had to relocate. There wasn't anywhere safe for them to locate. They had to use a favor of a friend to stay in Lake Charles so they could immediately respond. So we thought that if we could apply for any grants through OEP to do a shelter in place at part of that building, that way Danny's office could go then, they could monitor the storms, they could actually write out the storm there. There would be in-care repairs. This isn't in a flood zone. They could do cement walls. It would be a true shelter in place for our EOC. Even if the sheriff needed a deputy or two to stay in there as well, then they would be right there in Grand Lake. So there are so many grant funds available for those shelter in places, so we feel like we could use some of that to help cover the cost. And then anything else would have to be an allocation of the jury. We don't know what that cost would be yet. It could be $500,000. It could be $1 million. We haven't pursued any of the grants yet, but before we started with getting further in the design and paying an architect to look at that, we wanted to make sure that y'all would at least be receptive to the idea. It does change the footprint of that area. We'd be moving the fire station over. You'd move the multipurpose building to the back. It would be a true multipurpose facility. Also, the parish would own it. We already technically own the center that's there. Right now, it's rented out by the firemen, by the fire station, the fire crew. If we were to build this and put general fund dollars into this, that's something that the parish would own. We have staff that could rent it out, maybe, renting it out as an event center every weekend would generate funds to help offset the maintenance cost of it as well.
And with the fire station, with the new trucks and the upgrades that they have been receiving, the fire trucks really do not fit in that building well. They've done everything they can possibly do to accommodate their trucks, but they really don't fit in there well. And the bathrooms and other things in that fire station are just, it's just really not usable.
I think that we ought to move forward with it, just like you have it, and be sure not cut corners.
Right,
We want to design a good place there, and
Well, we've had the
let's move
engineer-
forward with it. Who owns the property?
And every community has a
It's
really
ours.
good multi-purpose building, brand new, it withstand, the one that we just built in Cameron had minimum damage from the hurricane, Hack Mary Community Center and Johnson Bayou. Grand Lake's the only one that really hasn't outdated, and we did look at doing repairs. A few years ago, we went, and that's when we bricked the front, which we re-sheeted it. We wanted to do a lot of the parking lot updates, but we couldn't because of how low it was compared to the state highway. It would just flood the building. So we can't ever do any improvements to that parking area in that road without doing some major renovations, digging everything up and doing new foundation. So this is really an opportunity for us to do something new that'll withstand future storms, make improvements of what we already have. And I think that it would be rented more if it was something, and it's in your packet, but it would be something really nice that you could see people having receptions there or weddings there.
Well, my deal is, it's just like this building. We can keep repairing old and stay old, but if we build something that can withstand it, we have something like this. But I just want to see, I don't want to get real lopsided because we got a lot of other debts, like Joe said, is coming in, but we need to address and see how many grants, what we can get to help us out, and then kind of come back, and then we can get this thing.
We've had the engineers and architects that you guys hired to go out and look at it and do evaluations, but before we wanted to move further with anything else, like Katie was saying, with anything, we just need to get y'all's approval.
I'm in favor.
Get out of hand.
Y'all can find the funding or whatever, I don't have a problem with
I'm
it.
like Lee, I think you need to
So
move
you-
forward with it.
Yeah, and you
One
can
of
fix it, but it's very expensive to fix what's already there.
One of the things I'd like to find out too is cost of insurance on this old building and the cost of the new building is gonna be astronomically high. So, I mean, maintenance on it, we need to find them factors that put all that in there also. I mean, I want a new building, but if we can't pay for it,
Oh, we can pay for it.
Can y'all pay for it?
well, I know we can pay for it.
We
Well-
pay for it.
Yeah, we can, I can pull and see what a comparable, price, we have under our umbrella all of the multipurpose buildings throughout the parish. I can go and look and see what we pay at each other location, what would be similar in size, and I can give you that today.
Okay.
It's in your packet, kind of what the new layout could potentially look like. It's just
I like it.
conceptual.
Good.
But it really does make more use, it's better parking, it's better for Miss Dinah Landry and the council and agent, they would have better road, they would have more room for parking. It really benefits the fire department, council and agent, and the parish and the community.
Well, with
What's
the
the
number of people
ambulance?
that you've got in Grand Lake now,
This was
this should not be a
This is
problem.
the fire
Yeah,
station.
and this building's for,
Something
right now, we
they
have it
do
kind of
away
scheduled for like
ambulance.
300,
So,
capacity. So, I mean, it could even be 350,
Station
so.
might go down, that piece of shit.
What about
Down.
the old post office, or was it gone? It wasn't running no more?
Fire station.
Miss Dinah has that right now, she's making repairs to it, because she uses it.
Well, I mean, it's not in the picture, that's why I'm wondering, is it gonna stay or is it gonna be moved?
It's the yellow building in your picture.
There's
On
two
the
ways
old-
to go with that
It was
as
a white
well.
building.
Yeah, I know which one it is, but I'm just saying that in the new site plan, it's not there.
We
It's in-
have it moved back to Miss Dinah's location.
It
It's
could
in the,
either stay where it's at, or
Diana's
we could
place.
pay to move it onto her property, because the
So
council
we'll have
agent
all the
owns more
property?
properties.
Okay.
That would be something that the police jury would have to allocate. I mean, it's good where it's at right now, it's not in our way, but if we wanted to make more use of the footprint, Miss Dinah Landry, they do own more property besides where their building is further north.
Yeah,
We
they
could
could put it
allocate
back
money to
there.
do improvements, move their building back there on her property, and then we would have all of the frontage road.
And the ambulance station.
Well, I would hope it's her building, she would move it, pay for it, but. I know
But
we
she's
don't have no
fixing
money.
it where it is right now and using it.
Yeah, okay.
And and when he said that, the ambulance district decided to move, they want to buy their own property in Grand Lake and build a new office somewhere else. They were having a lot of issues with sharing the property with the multipurpose building when it was rented out, and so they want to go do something separate, and they made that decision last month, so they're not going to rebuild there.
Good deal.
We have a problem with the fire trucks on the island too. Those ladder trucks and everything sitting out in the weather.
Big Pasture's going to be taken, what's left is gonna be taken down, and then that facility's coming back brand new because it was destroyed in the storm completely.
When's, you said, when's all this happen?
Yeah.
Well, the demo packages are going out in the next week, for bid for multiple locations that we had. We just had to make sure that some of the locations we were looking at that were still approximately standing were not salvageable that way by the engineer, you know, because we do want FEMA to sign off on these buildings whenever we get them rebuilt. So the demo package will go out within the next week for, like I said, multiple locations, and Big Pasture's one of them.
That's
Was
expensive equipment sitting out there.
Did
Yes,
they
sir.
did they have a FEMA PW road on, any of that?
We don't need.
I'm sorry.
Was there a FEMA
Anything to
PW
move
road
forward.
on the fire station in
They
Big?
are, they're still gathering all the information for those. He asked if there's a FEMA PW written on that, on those locations, but
So, yes and no. FEMA, our favorite topic. So, we have done everything we can. Except the only thing to have the final obligation is a site inspection performed by FEMA. We've been trying to get these inspections scheduled for 3 weeks now. We got an update yesterday. They're hoping they'll come out in 2 weeks, but I went ahead and asked them if they cared if we just started work and took pictures. And then if they come and had to do a site inspection, then we give them the pictures, because we just can't wait on it anymore. We are at the mercy of FEMA right now for them. They're overstaffed. They have too many inspections to do. They don't have enough inspectors. So they gave me their blessing in writing to just document everything
good.
and get started. And if their inspectors miss it, then they'll have to accept our pictures.
Good, that's good.
So,
any buildings that didn't necessarily need you guys' approval, and I'll give you an example, like the Johnson Bayou library or Grand Junction Library, the damage they had, the architects have been in there, those are gonna go out for bid in the next 2 weeks. So, small projects like that are in the works. We've had a list for the architects and the engineers to assess all of those buildings, and they are completing that as we speak.
So pretty much the work that's gonna be done under the insurance policies and not FEMA can go forward?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
a few notice to proceeds have been issued over the last week, so you're gonna start seeing some movement. Ms. Emily said that the barn in Grand Lake's gonna be demoed. That PO has been issued, it should be coming. The old DA office right here that you guys voted to demo before, Laura, well, we're still demoing it. That notice proceed's been issued. They also have a Grand Chenier Pavilion at the park. That's something that you had voted on to fund, to repair and do some expansion of the electric for use by the Lions Club for the fishing rodeo. That was something that was voted on, I think, in like May of that year. We went ahead and proceeded with that, so we have the quote. So they're gonna have the Grand Chenier Pavilion ready for June for the fishing rodeo. Well, they'll
In
have
August.
it August at the latest, but their deadline, they're supposed to have everything done by June. That's just really tinning and then redoing the electric. So there's gonna be a lot of work that's gonna be going on in the next month. And all of that is with insurance money. FEMA's not involved in it. It's just making repairs to existing infrastructure. Anything else that could have been deemed a total loss, and we're talking about doing repairs, those are items we were gonna bring to you in the police jury meeting to make decisions on. Just like this Grand Lake Fireman Center is one of them. Every month, we're gonna be bringing these ideas to you on if we're consolidating or not consolidating. So the next month, you'll probably see something about the mosquito control and what we're gonna do with them. So every month, we'll bring those to you.
All right. Good. Review agenda.
Item 14, is this gonna be the end of that? I mean, fund-wise?
Item 14.
That's the change order for Bridget for 633 for this breakwater
Yes,
barriers.
so-
Oh, yeah.
Change order for, which one? Little Florida?
That's gonna
Florida,
be,
Little
yeah,
Florida.
that's Little Florida. So, the pre-construction survey, to check the water depths post the hurricane, was done after this change order. So originally, the, plan was to add additional 3 breakwaters. The initial plan was just 5. So we had some remaining funds, so that's why they wanted to do the revision to include 3 more segmented breakwaters. So, post the storm, they did another survey. Well, the water depths had changed. So, right now, they're only gonna add 2 additional, and that third one will add additional height to the remaining, to the 7 breakwaters. So, this is the final, I think really this ends the funds.
Yeah, it's the final change order. Once they finish this construction, then you'll accept the project substantially complete. This is all funded with your Gomeza bond. And you can only use this Gomeza bonds to do this project.
Item 25, yeah, about the casket retrieval.
Yes.
I know it's taking, I want to bring this up to y'all, it's taking a while, we still got, how many caskets out there? Over 100?
No, they estimating 75 now.
About 75. I talked to some of the local guys here that they called me about, getting you got a little guy named Zach, with Zach's Aerial, he collects all the alligator eggs down here. He's familiar with the marsh, and he can fly the helicopter sideways and look and everything, and he knows all the marshes down here. He kind of gave us a price on what, he could get 2 helicopters in here, and in about 3 days be done with it, doing all the,
Reconnaissance.
Yeah, drop all the pins where they can find. Before all this grass, it's already, everything's growing, that's when my sinuses are like it is, and everybody knows everything's green. But he can get in there for less than $40,000, kind of what he, with 2 helicopters, and survey all where the caskets would be at in a matter of.
And kind of what's going on is, the cemetery task force is the one that's responsible for identifying them. Well, they work through FEMA. They only can do operations that are funded through FEMA. They are right now working on a contract for someone to fly drones, because even though they've continued to fly helicopters, they're having a problem locating it. So now they're working on something to get a drone. It's still going through contracting, takes time to procure everything. And there's some concern that, it's been long enough. We want to, if the parish is interested in allocating the funds, we will submit this to FEMA for allocation for reimbursement. There's a chance it will get denied because the cemetery task force is using their funds to do the same thing. So if they think that it's a duplicate service, then they won't fund it. But if it's important to the jury to pay to find these caskets and get them identified and get them retrieved, then that's a chance that you're willing to take, then you vote for it. And if you want to let the cemetery task force handle it, then you vote no.
Okay, on this Zach guy, he's just gonna go pinpoint him, and then we gotta still pay somebody to go get him?
Well,
Patrick is
no.
already on the list.
Cemetery task force, I've been talking to Ryan Cedarman, if we hire him, we provide the coordinates to him, and then through his task force, they collect it. So it's just a way for the parish to help them identify and locate the caskets.
Patrick is already on the
Yeah.
cemetery task force's deal to retrieve the caskets.
Yeah, we wouldn't pay for retrieval, it's just for identifying.
A lot of money for 2 or 3 days of
Yeah.
work.
Well, it's 2 helicopters.
Oh, yeah, it's 2 helicopters, so, I mean,
For about
I I'm
I can
just.
show you on my text.
No, I
But it's
don't,
2 helicopters.
It
understand.
wouldn't exceed 40,000, if they find them all the first day, then
It may not
it'd be
be that
cheaper. But they might not find any at all, I mean, it is just a risk, it's just up to you guys if you feel like it's worth something that we need to pursue to help the cemetery task force identify these caskets, before they get lost forever, with the
Flies here all day. He
vegetation.
works with a lot of
I don't
locals
know
here.
how long
Well,
the
had,
drones.
everybody.
haven't Patrick had his helicopter out there flying and trying to find everything already?
The
I know he
cemetery
flew
task
quite a
force
few.
has been flying helicopters, yes. Their private contractor has been flying.
Right.
And now they're going to the drone to try to help find them with drones. So that is still gonna take place regardless of our allocation.
Right.
This would just be for us to expedite the location. If we feel like this company would do a better job of finding it before it sinks or it's covered by vegetation.
Right, and that's what I'm wondering is, what are they gonna do different than what Patrick has already done? What was,
Well, they were recommended by Patrick.
okay,
Patrick was trying to get the cemetery task force to contract with them, but FEMA said no, to use the drone because it's cheaper.
and there's only about 75
so
missing,
when
or
we're gonna
they,
allocate the money, there ain't no way FEMA's gonna reimburse.
They ain't gonna reimburse us, no.
Usually FEMA if you spend it, if you go ahead and you take the initiative and you spend it, then they do their best to try to make it eligible. But if you ask permission first, they'll tell you no on a lot of things. But FEMA wants you to, if you feel like it's important and you submit it, then we could see about getting it eligible, but can't make any promises. They could say no.
So how much would it cost for the whole time?
Two helicopters, I got
40.
my phone, I could find it.
40,000.
It'd be less than 40 for about 4 days. That's 2 helicopters.
I mean, I wanna find all the caskets, I mean, we need to find them, but
I'll show y'all I'll show what he said. We can talk to Patrick and it just said all these bodies are still laying out there in caskets, and it looks like, to me, they've been dragging their feet. You know, when you talk to different people, when y'all gonna do something?
Well, I mean,
I'd like to see a written quote.
I mean,
on it
there's
before we do
the
anything.
public's gotta understand too, that this is a big task to go out there and
Yeah.
find
Well, with the weather
a
you've
needle
been
in
having-
a needle in a haystack is basically what you're looking for.
And with the weather we've been having,
Yeah.
with the rain and the winds that we've had, there's a lot of days they cannot get out there. There's only a couple
Yeah.
of days, and then helicopters, I don't think it's gonna do any better than that. I'm sorry. Not
Yeah. That's where we're going up.
Yeah, it's on the agenda for you guys to vote on this afternoon. And
Hey, don't move forward, man, y'all.
Okay, what about, number C on under 8, the Fire District 1 Civil Service? We still have a civil service board since we have the more hired firemen?
I think that's for Johnson Bayou.
No, this is Cameron's.
Oh, yeah, we
That's-
don't, you're
that's
right, we
Cameron.
probably don't need a civil service board for
That's
that.
Fire District 1, that's Cameron.
We'll work with Tom on that one and see what we're required to do,
You'll still need that.
Yeah, because I haven't gotten a letter saying that they were
even if we don't have a full-time
disbanded.
fireman.
Even though we have firemen?
You're gonna have firemen.
Not hard firemen in Cameron, we don't.
Not civil
volunteers.
service fireman.
The Civil Service Board,
No, it's a
number
civil service board.
C, Fire District number 1,
Civil
which is
Service
Cameron.
Board.
Why
Well-
do we have a Civil Service Board now? We don't have no more hired firemen.
Well, maybe we should talk about the proposed ordinance change first, because what you guys do with that will dictate what we do with the civil service board.
Right.
Okay. I just want to
So,
We just table it?
Do you want me to talk to him, Tom, or do you want to present it?
That's number 20, Katie.
any questions?
Okay, so we started the conversation a few months ago about looking at consolidating Cameron Creo Grand Chenier Fire into South Cameron Fire District. So this is the first step that you guys would vote on if you're gonna consolidate or not. Now, there's 2 options that you can go with, and you can vote on that today, and then Tom and his staff are gonna write the ordinance and start the publication and notice process. So the first way is to consolidate it and take ownership of it. Like the police jury is the governing authority. Any full-time or part-time firemen report directly to the admin staff, just like their parish employees. They would answer to the administrator and then to you last. We would manage everything in-house. We would collect the tax, we would pay the bills, everything just like it's the permit department. The second option is it operates kind of like it is now, but it's a consolidated board. So you would pick a few members from each community. They would be the board. They would supervise and manage the firemen and the fire district like they already do now. You wouldn't see any change or any difference in how it's operating, but instead of it being 3 separate boards, it would just be 1 board.
That's what we like to do.
So there's 2 options for you guys.
We've got, I guess I'm naming names, we got Timmy hired on as our
It's still gonna be, once we consolidate, is it still gonna be a volunteer system?
Well, no, once you
Tim will be a
consolidate
full-time
it, then what they can do is, it mainly will be volunteer system, but the fire chief would be Tim DuPont, and his salary would come from the 3 different taxing entities to pay for his salary and benefits.
So it's still gonna be a volunteer system?
Yes.
You just have 1
Was that
full-time
Tim
fire chief. So if you have 1 full-time employee, then I guess you do need the civil service board.
In that case, do you have to have the civil service board?
And that's what I said, yeah, because if Tim DuPont's the full-time fire chief, then the answer would be yes.
Okay.
We'll talk more about it.
But that's for this afternoon for
Think
you
you wanna
guys to
approve
vote on, and we need
To
to
vote on,
know.
to start.
Think you want to vote
Yeah, I
on
want
it?
to.
Yeah, option 1 or 2.
And
It's on
you
there
need to,
already.
when you make your motion, make the motion of which option you want to go. Do you want to have just a consolidated board, or do you want to try something new and have them run through the
That's
police
gonna be up
board?
to
There's
y'all,
two
you
different
and
options.
Thomas and,
I think between me and Thomas, we'd rather have, I think, a consolidated board, like 2 from Grand Cherokee, 2 from Rio, 2 from Cameron.
Probably the best thing you can do.
You know,
How many board
yeah,
members
and
are
working
in the
through the
audit?
parish
Five?
part of it,
Yeah,
that's
So
just a
they're,
headache
they're
point
writing it
for
for
us.
five, a five-member board.
we could, well, we could do it 5.
Yeah, we're limited by the statute. The legislature says if you appoint a board to govern your fire district, then that board can be made
That's
of
fine.
5.
Tom, 5.
I'm just saying, it wasn't our decision. That's
It's
the
a
vote.
5 is
statute.
fine.
So that's to vote this afternoon. So when you make a motion, you need to see if you want a board to govern or if you want to govern it yourself when you make the motion.
Does that
What about,
Y'all just,
Tom, can you do an at-large or an alternate? At-large? That way you get 6 out of it?
No, the statute says
It's 5.
if you appoint a board, the board is made up to 5 members.
5 members.
period.
5's fine. We can work
I don't know
on
why they picked 5, that's just what the statute says.
So in case
I'm
there's
just
no
asking.
ties.
it.
If you have
Right,
one at
it's either
large, you
5,
You
7,
could have 3
yes.
one from each district and 2 at large. I
Two
don't
at
know.
large, yeah, I mean, that's
So
something.
you
that's
decide
fine.
how, but they have to be of the district.
That's fine. Thank you, Tom.
and so the pros and cons of both, if you're having a hard time, if you don't think that you're going to have enough people to be,
On the
to
board.
respond, to attend to the board, to make the quorum, if that's going to be an issue for this district, then maybe you want to cut the board out and let the police jury govern it. If you don't want if you like that board system and you like their expertise and they'll make recommendations and you don't want to have to deal with making recommendations on how to manage fire, then you vote with the board and the 5-member board. So, I mean, there's pros and cons of both ways. You guys just need
Do a
to,
5-member board.
Whatever y'all wanna do.
Okay.
That's whatever y'all want to do.
That's good. We're good. I'll give it to Thomas when he gets back for the 2 o'clock meeting, and
Yep.
I'll do the 5-member board, we'll just consolidate.
okay.
I don't know about them answer to parish, I mean, directly to you, that doesn't make.
Well, that's the way it is, that either the police jury governs the board, the firemen directly, or they appoint a board to govern it. So that would how, they would come and answer
I'm just
this
saying,
way. Yeah. And if you don't like that model, then you keep the board and it's a 5-member board. And everything kind of flows the way it had been.
And we can still go ahead and have Timmy full-time underneath the board.
Yep, absolutely.
That'll work.
What's,
Thank you.
what's 23? What we purchased, good Primo?
So Wendy worked on this a bit more.
Was that the fire, though?
Yeah,
On Camille Lane, yeah.
yeah,
On those two.
That was our old fire field, fire station.
Is it still there?
Yeah, the one on Camille, is that it?
yeah.
So it's part of the fire district for Creole,
Yeah.
and the building was on some property that the property didn't belong to us. There was some donations to family members and some other stuff. Anyway, long story short, the building was not, there was not a release signed. So I gave all the information to Tom, and he said that there were some options, and so
Well,
he's
one
done.
thing which we want to do anyway is do away with that
Yes.
site.
Yeah, it's not our,
We're doing away with that site, and we're gonna do away with the one by
He just-
Burley over there.
I was gonna have it torn down, and he wanted the building to stay because it's on his property.
We would probably want, I would want to
So,
sell.
Tom has the
the
paperwork.
building.
Here he is, sorry. Go ahead.
Right, so, the lease that the police jury had, or the fire station board had on that property expired long ago. We don't have technically a lease, but under that existing lease at the time, it required us to return the property to its original state. But Mr. Primo said, hey, I'd like to keep the building, so it actually saves us money. So we've prepared a deed that transfers that building to the property owner as is, so it takes it out of our,
That's
it's
good.
not our problem. He wants it, it
Yeah.
helps both of us.
Yeah, that's good. I just wondered what we
That's what
doing.
we've prepared.
It was damaged, and we were gonna have it taken down, but then he said
That's
he wanted
good.
to keep it, so I got
So
Tom
you
involved.
have a deed, if it's approved, you'll sign the deed, and Mr. Primo, and it's for the building only, but we record it anyway, because we record our contracts. but the building would become his to do what he wants.
All right, good deal.
Thank you. How about number 17? Why are we switch our sale to Quinn?
Yes, sir. It's been a few years that we've been selling all of our surplus equipment through him.
Yeah.
And we've been getting a large return. We moved away from the still build process, and we get an average $7,000 to $10,000 on some of our trucks that we've been selling there.
Okay, I didn't realize.
We have a few, the Acadia that's like 6 years old. We have just a few left of our fleet that we don't lease through Enterprise right now that we're gonna sell. This is the last of it. And we're actually about to flip all of our fleet again because the market is really requiring used vehicles. There's not a lot, I guess, because of COVID and all of the shutdowns of the manufacturing last year of all of the half-ton and quarter-ton trucks. There's a big demand in the market right now, so we talked about flipping our trucks and getting in all new ones. And the way that's been working, it's actually been working really well now that we're 5 years in. We haven't paid a penny for our leased vehicles. And as soon as we sell our surplus, it goes back in our account, it buys the new vehicles, and it hasn't really been costing us anything.
Huh?
Yeah, because we're able to buy as a parish authority, we have no sales tax, we're able to qualify, so a 30,000 vehicle truck that normally would be sold to a private entity, we can buy that at a discounted rate, say like 20,000. Then you use it for a year, you sell
Now
it for
tell the jury,
20,000, you bank that 10,000.
Tell the jury what you pay a month for that fleet vehicles.
What we pay a month
Yes,
per vehicle?
yeah.
They're between per month $500 to $700 a
Okay.
month on a vehicle.
So they're not free.
Per vehicle? No. No, we're paying.
You still had to pay that if you bought it, Lee.
But-
They're not free.
Yeah,
They're not
but you still
free.
had to buy
But
the vehicle
overall
anyway.
account, as we sell vehicles of
That's
our,
right.
in the account, that's what's paying the monthly lease.
So you're breaking even.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
We've been
vehicle
breaking
ain't
even.
costing you nothing.
That's right.
In the
But
long
if we
run.
had to buy them, it'd be costing us all kind of money. So we're actually saving money by doing the lease deal.
I don't think so.
We have been so far.
Yeah.
Yes, we have been. It has paid off.
Yeah, I knew he was.
Y'all have to show me that math.
Well, you was against it when it first.
You'd have to show me that math.
You was
comment.
against it when it first started.
So, with
Math
that being
don't
said, we
add
do
up.
have a lot of new vehicles that we're gonna be putting the emblem on, and so I'm sure everyone's gonna call and say, why did y'all get all new vehicles? That's why the demand, we can sell our vehicles that are 1 or 2 years old right now and make a big profit and just get in a newer one.
We won't
Tell
get
them it
no-
don't
Less
cost us,
maintenance.
tell the public it don't cost us nothing. So we get new ones, it don't cost us nothing.
At the end of the day, it really
That's what
doesn't.
you telling us.
No, I mean, it really
You
doesn't.
you gotta be smart enough to understand the math.
Yeah, I can check it.
Yeah, you can see that math. That's a new
That's
math.
That's South Cameron math.
7-0 with Center Point, what about Center Point, they come down back here for sure, or a lot of people asking questions? What's
Yes,
going on?
they are. We had a meeting with them last week, I believe it was, and the permit's on there. I guess I'll let Kara go through the permits.
Yeah, I think there's a total of 16 phases, so they are prioritizing, and they will be starting in Cameron, and then working their way along West Carroll Highway, East Carrillo. So they will continue to service the customers as they are now through their mobile, whatever it is, I don't know. But,
Yeah, they're mobile trailers.
yeah, so they are continuing to, once, the customers call, they're gonna serve them. So they're gonna have a new line, so they're not stopping.
They told us it's about
They're gonna start, I think,
22 miles, huh?
They are,
22 miles.
it's about a $3 million investment that they're investing to service Cameron and Creole right now.
About Cameron Communications, are they spending any money to?
They
Improve?
are, I will tell you, they are very busy. The waiting list for them to go restore service to their customers, I hear, is a few months in.
Because they're putting in new customers in Moss Bluff.
Is that why?
Yes,
Oh,
they threw us to
Yeah, it's at least
back
6
burner.
months.
Have we gotten anywhere with finding out about getting somebody else in this Cameron Parish? About the franchise deal?
Yeah, I mean, we pulled the franchise, they have it, the agreement did expire. You know, we can go out and see if we can get some interest in someone coming in and taking over, but it's gonna be a pretty large investment. They'll have to put all their own
So
infrastructure, but we can certainly.
we gotta do something, because
see if
Cameron
we can attract
Communications is
someone
not
else.
helping us at all.
Okay. We'll put that to our economic development list,
Top.
top of the list. Yes, sir.
Does anybody else have any?
Without
I have,
internet, you don't have nothing.
Mr. Scott, we have add-ons. Under appointments, we have J, Fire District Number 9, and K, Gravity Drainage District Number 5. Then we have authority to get soil compaction test and a new quote to raise Pelican Point Road.
Anybody else have anything?
I do have one other thing for Emily, or Katie. It's about the debris pickup side. They're having big issues right now, everybody is. They go down a road, they pick one piece up here and one piece there, and they leaving the main part that's blocking the drainage. When they get on the road, they need to clean the road. Pick it all up, because I see a lot of it. They're skipping over, and they,
got with them on that, yes, and Mr. Kirk, after we talked.
I mean, something needs to change. I know it's almost to the end, and they don't care no more, but it needs to change.
That's been a problem since they started, because Shane and I met with them before and talked to them.
And now we did, you expressed the concern a few weeks ago, and we did audit their tickets. I made them send me all of their trip tickets that were in a Sweet Lake area. And a lot of their cubic yardage was low, but we did call an audit on it, and they did provide all the information, and they made sure that it was estimated to the lowest percentage, because they don't pay per cubic yard, it's just estimated based off of it, and they did fix a few of the tickets that were overestimated.
Yeah, they had a bunch of them. I watched them pass up and down the road. They had 5 cubic yards in a 30-yard truck all day long.
So we did, and we got our debris monitors involved, and they started pulling all of the tickets. They did their job. So hopefully, we have a week left, and we don't ever have to talk about debris removal in the right of way ever again.
We're talking about storm season again.
Yeah.
Is it starting, instead of June 1st, is it May something?
Yeah, it's
May
2 weeks
they're
early.
trying to change it to May for another year, so they were just talking about it. So for now, it's still June 1st.
And I guess we're going to have to go back out for RFQ on the monitors people, all the,
It's for 2 years with an option to renew for 6 months so that we can get it back on schedule to where we sign the contract well before hurricane season begins.
and change all the stuff where whenever they have a site, they are
Yes,
good to go whenever in the event.
yes.
Thank you.
And
Yeah,
so
that was
probably
great.
the last update I have for you guys, and I wish it was a real update, but we continue to fight with FEMA about allowing travel trailers in Cameron Parish, particularly flood zones with a variance greater than 18 inches. We have a call once a week, every week, that Danny and Ashley are on, I'm on, Kara's on. We have GOSEP staff, Casey Tingle mainly, who is fighting against FEMA with us. It's made its way, our complaint and our request for an exemption has made its way all the way to the headquarters in DC. They refused to rule on it and kicked it back down to the local level and said that the Tony Robinson, the Region 6 coordinator, has full authority to make that decision. He is looking at it. He tells us that he will make a decision soon.
Yeah.
So
When it's soon.
we
That's
can.
the problem. We got people that need to get back in their house.
Absolutely, but we did have full support from GOSEP staff, local FEMA representatives, and Congressman Higgins, Representative Boyott. They've been fighting as well, and they promise us that they'll make a decision very soon. They feel like maybe next week they'll be ready to decide one way or the other.
You need to call Biden. He'll fix it.
We did try.
Just got to put it in writing.
He got a letter too, but I don't know if he checks them
He
out,
didn't look
so.
at
We can read it. Well, does anybody else have any, Joe, you have anything else, or are y'all ready to adjourn?
We are.
I'm ready.
Meeting adjourned. See y'all at 2:00.